Hollywood's all about meteoric rises and spectacular falls, but the saga of Rachel Zegler is a whole different beast. One day she's hailed as cinema's new golden girl, the next she's drowning in controversy and widespread backlash. How exactly does someone go from being the industry's darling to its pariah practically overnight?
Rachel Zegler, we're supposed to believe, is just so striking that even the supermodel like Gal Gadot is supposed to be homicidally jealous of her. I mean, we're supposed to completely suspend our disbelief.
Rachel's story initially had all the makings of a classic Hollywood fairy tale. Discovered through a viral audition clip, she landed the lead in Steven Spielberg's remake of West Side Story. Critics couldn't stop raving about her vocal talent and on-screen presence, while audiences were instantly captivated by this bright-eyed newcomer stepping into such an iconic role. In her interviews, Rachel seemed genuinely overwhelmed by her good fortune.
I mean, people thought my whole trajectory was fake, and sometimes I wake up and I think my whole trajectory is fake, but it's just a testament to taking chances.
She talked about the surreal experience of being personally chosen by Spielberg from thousands of hopefuls, and how she dreamed of seeing her name in lights since she was a teenager. She teased fans about her fresh take on West Side Story, promising to honor the original while bringing something new to the table. On the surface, everything looked perfect. Her star was on a rapid ascent. Social media adored her seemingly genuine gratitude, and industry insiders were whispering that she'd joined the A-list far sooner than most newcomers. But even during these early days, there were subtle signs that something wasn't quite right. Whispers began circulating about her being unusually opinionated for a Hollywood rookie. There were murmurs about minor disagreements with choreographers, but fans and critics alike dismissed them as typical behind-the-scenes drama. Everyone was too enchanted with this fresh-faced star to pay attention to the brewing storm behind the scenes. The reality was apparently quite different. As West Side Story's publicity tour gained momentum, backstage gossip started leaking from unnamed crew members. Some claimed Rachel routinely challenged choreography notes, sometimes bringing entire shoots to a halt while demanding changes that better suited her. Others suggested she clashed with department heads over costumes, insisting certain outfits didn't flatter her or didn't align with her character interpretation. The whispers grew louder. She wasn't just passionate, she was possibly disruptive. Spielberg, famous for fostering collaborative, peaceful sets, kept his thoughts private. After all, he'd already publicly championed Rachel as the next big thing.
She got the role not because she was a great singer, she got the role because she's a fantastic actor.
For any newcomer, pushing back against an industry legend would normally be career suicide. But Rachel seemed unafraid to assert herself. Some called it confidence, others labeled it hubris. Rumors suggested she critiqued camera angles, questioned editing decisions, and even argued about dialogue. Apparently, some longtime Spielberg collaborators tried to mediate, explaining that the director's process requires trust rather than constant negotiation. But according to these accounts, Rachel remained unmoved, convinced her instincts mattered more than the experience of an Oscar-winning visionary. For a while, Spielberg maintained a positive public stance on Rachel. Early test screenings for West Side Story were favorable, with audiences praising her voice and on-screen charisma. Yet behind closed doors, insiders claimed the director's patience was wearing thin with each new conflict. He was accustomed to guiding young talent. Just think of Drew Barrymore, Christian Bale, and countless child stars who flourished under his mentorship. But this situation was apparently different. Word began circulating that Spielberg found Rachel's attitude to be a serious obstacle, with one insider reportedly saying he branded her horrible to work with. If true, that single statement sent shockwaves through the industry. Spielberg is a legend known for nurturing rising stars, so for him to allegedly cast such a negative light on a newcomer was essentially a storm warning for other directors and producers. Spielberg never publicly confirmed or denied these rumors of friction. That silence spoke volumes. Many noticed how he lavishly praised Ariana DeBose, Rachel's West Side Story co-star, calling her performance mesmerizing while showcasing her accomplishments. Rachel, however, received only perfunctory acknowledgments at best. Industry insiders began speculating, was Spielberg deliberately withholding approval? And if so, why? These rumors lingered like distant thunder until Rachel landed the role of Snow White in Disney's massive live-action remake, a project that seemed destined to cement her stardom. No one realized it would instead mark the beginning of her astonishing downfall. Disney had sky-high hopes for Snow White, pouring over $250 million into the budget. Executives were banking on the remake's guaranteed nostalgia and star power to captivate a new generation of viewers, just as they'd done with Beauty and the Beast. It made perfect sense to invest in this timeless tale of a princess, a poisoned apple, and a redemptive kiss. But controversies plagued the production from day one. First came the changes, transforming the dwarfs into magical beings to modernize the story and removing classic elements many considered essential to the fairy tale's charm. Rachel's personal commentary only made things worse when she called the original Snow White creepy and labeled the prince a stalker. These statements didn't just upset fans, they ignited a full-blown uproar among Disney loyalists. By the time the film premiered, audiences were already deeply skeptical. The result? A box office disaster so enormous that Disney executives reportedly held emergency meetings to discuss the film's catastrophic performance. Critics tore it apart, calling the adaptation hollow and accusing the studio of trying too hard to be politically correct. Rachel's portrayal of the classic princess was singled out as lacking heart, fueling a tidal wave of negative reviews. Behind closed doors, Disney was reportedly in panic mode. This was supposed to be a guaranteed hit, a cornerstone of their expanding library of reimagined classics. Instead, it became a cautionary tale, and right in the middle of every scathing headline was Rachel Zegler's name, with many mercilessly blaming her for the film's failure. To make matters worse, clips from her interviews went viral for all the wrong reasons. People were outraged that she treated a beloved childhood icon as an outdated relic rather than approaching the project with reverence. But even that might not have completely tanked her reputation if she'd chosen to respond differently. Instead, she made the situation spiral completely out of control. When a film bombs this spectacularly, most stars do damage control through expressions of regret or humility, the typical path to public forgiveness, acknowledging that something went wrong despite everyone's best intentions. Rachel took a different approach. According to reports, she partly blamed external factors, suggesting that audience interest in the upcoming Minecraft movie overshadowed Disney's marketing efforts. To fans, this sounded like a ridiculous excuse, and the internet transformed it into an instant meme. Satirical videos flooded Twitter, TikTok, and every social media platform showing Minecraft characters toppling Disney princesses with captions like "Snow White lost to the blocks." If Rachel thought her explanation would smooth things over, her plan backfired catastrophically. The public was hungry for an apology, or at least an acknowledgement of how the film had alienated longtime Snow White fans. But they got neither. Word spread that Rachel was refusing certain press requests as the negative buzz intensified. Rather than participating in a coordinated apology tour, she seemed to retreat, giving the impression she was only enthusiastic when everything was going her way. Critics hammered her relentlessly, using her own interviews as ammunition to portray her as arrogant and disconnected. Fans who had once seen her as the bright new star from West Side Story began wondering if they'd been manipulated by well-orchestrated PR from Disney and Spielberg. Then came another blow: Spielberg's continued silence. With these disasters piling up, you'd think he might step in and clarify things. But his refusal to comment suggested to many that those alleged disapproving rumors might be true. And when Hollywood's most respected director chooses not to defend you, that message echoes throughout the industry. In Tinseltown, words matter, but silence can be 1,000 times louder. Spielberg, renowned for championing unknown actors who later became household names, remained conspicuously silent regarding Rachel. He neither confirmed nor denied the horrible-to-work-with rumor. He simply let it linger on. A quiet non-response sent ripples across the industry like a silent condemnation. Executives, producers, and agents became increasingly wary. People began scrutinizing old West Side Story press events, analyzing Spielberg's interactions with Rachel for any signs of tension, imagined raised eyebrows, forced smiles, or carefully chosen words. They replayed interviews where he enthusiastically praised Ariana DeBose while barely mentioning Rachel, finding meaning in every perceived pause and gesture. In reality, nobody outside Spielberg's immediate circle knows his true thoughts. But the widespread belief is that if he had anything positive to say about Rachel, he would have said it by now. Even during awards season, he seemed to champion everyone else in the cast, leaving her with lukewarm acknowledgments at best. This wasn't just about West Side Story either. After Snow White's catastrophic performance, many expected Spielberg might address the fiasco, if only to quiet the rumor mill. Instead, the director maintained his distance, and in Hollywood's fickle world, that's enough to poison someone's prospects. Many industry insiders believe Rachel's phone might soon stop ringing for leading roles, simply because the biggest name in the business apparently prefers to let the gossip speak for itself. But perhaps the darkest shadow looming over Rachel's future is the rumor that she's on the verge of being blacklisted. In an industry built on relationships, your reputation can determine whether you soar or crash. After two high-profile disasters, one with Spielberg and another with Disney, Rachel has landed in seriously hot water. Word on the grapevine suggests top executives are questioning whether it's worth the risk to hire someone rumored to be so volatile. With each new leak about her alleged demands or flippant remarks, fears grow that she might disrupt production or turn public opinion against a film. Some whisper that a few major studios have already removed her from potential casting lists. The unspoken logic is simple. If Spielberg regretted working with her, why should anyone else take that chance? Hollywood blacklisting isn't an official decree. It's more like a quiet understanding that certain opportunities are no longer available. No studio wants to invest millions into a project and risk another Snow White-level meltdown. No director wants to deal with off-camera drama that could tarnish their carefully crafted production. Still, other industry voices argue that Hollywood can be forgiving, provided you can create a fresh narrative. Perhaps Rachel could pivot, issue sincere apologies, or take on smaller indie projects to rebuild her credibility. But that path would require humility, reflection, and willingness to own her part in these controversies. If Hollywood's past teaches us anything, it's that downfalls can be reversed, but not without genuine contrition. As these debates continue, viewers and insiders alike wonder, can Rachel salvage her once promising career, or has the Hollywood machine already moved on? Whether every rumor is true or not, there's no denying that Rachel Zegler's journey has become a cautionary tale, one that highlights how quickly fortune can turn in a business driven by public perception. One moment, you're the beloved newcomer with the entire industry cheering you on. The next, you're the subject of harsh internet memes and whispered stories about a toxic attitude. In Hollywood, staying power isn't just about talent. It's about character, humility, and the ability to adapt when things fall apart. The question remains, is Rachel's dramatic setback merely a stumbling block on the road to a comeback, or a permanent detour from the path to superstardom? Only time will tell if she can regain the goodwill of directors, fans, and the studio executives who once championed her rise. After all, Hollywood loves a redemption story almost as much as it loves a scandal. If there's one lesson to take from all this, it's how quickly fame can evaporate when rumor, reality, and box office disappointments collide. Feel free to form your own theories about who's at fault or whether the downfall might be exaggerated. The only certainty in Tinseltown is that perceptions shift rapidly and often. Tomorrow, a new headline could either reclaim Rachel's former glory or hammer the final nail into her Hollywood coffin. Until then, everyone watches in suspense.